A scary car crash in Brooklyn left 2 people dead and
At red light Sunday afternoon, its dash camera captured
in police custody after a deadly crash. It struck several pedestrians. One of them has since died.
It's all because one of the cars ran a red light.
These stories of car-related deaths are way too common in New York City. However, the city is changing. A city that has been rife with traffic fatalities as a leading cause of injury is starting to act. The city has a bold plan to make its streets safer as it tries to echo the modern infrastructure decisions of Europe and abroad. However, small groups with deep pockets don't like some of these changes. They see it as a potential damage to their bottom line. In this episode, let's take a look at some of the powerful and influential groups and people in New York City.
It's crazy.
That are working to keep the city's streets dangerous for pedestrians and slow for its drivers. Alright, let's get out there. Hold up. I just wanted to do a quick reminder. If you've been enjoying this urban planning level content that I've been making, or any of my transit related stuff, I'd really appreciate the like, and subscribe as well if you want to see more of this content. I have a day job and I do this for fun, and also because I think it's pretty important, so any sort of support is super encouraging and I greatly appreciate it, and it totally pushes me to continue making this stuff. Alright, let's get back to walking.
I'm right off a fairly sad site near McGuinness Boulevard in Brooklyn. This has been the site of multiple fatalities and car-related deaths over the years. 2 years ago, a public school teacher by the name of Matthew Jensen was struck in a hit and run and killed on this boulevard.
Mr. Jensen, however, was not the first case. McGinnis has had a string of deaths and injuries over the years. 14 people have been killed on the boulevard since 1995. And over 1,000 people have been injured in motor-related vehicle incidents on the boulevard. In response to Mr. Jensen's death, local activists decided that they had had enough of the dangerous street. Local grassroots movements began to form and pushed Mayor de Blasio at the time to redesign the street.
Money in the budget immediately to redesign and fix McGinnis Boulevard once and for all.
And good progress actually started being made. The New York City Department of Transportation released an ambitious design that would reduce car accidents and speeding across the street. The street was to be narrowed down to 1 car lane, 1 bike lane, and 1 parking lane on both sides of the road. It looked like the community was going to get what it wanted, as one would expect of a community. But in summer 2023, a surprising alternative group started to move. A seemingly business-oriented grassroots movement started to form, opposing the street transformation. Residents started to get robocalls, flyers started going up, and town hall meetings were set up, all expressing the same message: Keep McGinnis Moving. A petition was created by the Keep McGinnis Moving campaign, and a list of businesses came out, all saying that they opposed the redesign of the street. They expressed concern over loss in business from the new redesign. Several outrageous unbacked claims were made, stating that the redesign was being pushed by Amazon, Uber, and other big scary tech companies. But the efforts seemed very forced and expensive.
These signs are actually everywhere. It's crazy.
Most grassroots groups are not able to just get a painted van. The movement was also able to put up flyers using different languages catering to the diversity of the area. For example, this poster, which is written in Polish.
I think what's especially ironic about all these Polish signs is that if you actually look at Poland, they've been road dieting a considerable amount of their infrastructure.
As investigators started to look through the companies, a common thread started to emerge. Of the 59 LLCs listed on the business petition, 35 of those companies shared the same headquarters as Broadway Stages, a large studio company in the region. Broadway Stages is a large New York City-based firm that is responsible for providing sets for various shows. Much of the film industry works with Broadway Stages in the area. The company itself is a family company run by Gina Argento. Broadway Stages has a bit at stake on McGinnis Boulevard, as it's a route that their trucks often take to haul supplies and equipment. The Argentos hold political influence in the area. In the past, they have been political contributors to both former Mayor de Blasio and current Mayor Adams, contributing over $15,000 to his election campaign. Gina Argento herself is on the local community board's transportation committee. Broadway Stages has a history of opposing safe and sustainable street progress in Brooklyn. As a member of the transportation committee, Gina Argento expressed disapproval over the bike lane on McGuinness, as she was concerned with safety. Furthermore, she has a history of expressing disapproval of bike lanes around her business. She previously pushed the Department of Transportation to reconsider a bike lane on Monitor Street.
I refer back to IBZ zone. It's a heavy industrial, massive tractor trailer trucks. There is no room to have a bike lane in that block. Why don't we look at a different block like Humboldt?
In some instances, Broadway Stages is correct to oppose these bike lane expansions. If a route truly goes through an industrial zone, it would be unwise to even have a pedestrian path there. However, McGuinness is much more of a route of convenience for Broadway Stages, and it is not an industrial route. The community, residents, and local businesses should have greater sway over the design of the path. So Broadway Stages has tried to sway public opinion by expressing concern that the bike lanes and single lanes will hurt businesses. So let's talk about this. Does dieting a road hurt local businesses? This is a concern that I've heard time and time again from small shop owners whenever this kind of problem arises. The concern is that reducing the number of lanes will reduce the number of traffic adjacent to the business and therefore reduce the number of customers that attend the business. At a surface level, this assumption is already somewhat dubious, considering that some of the most commercially successful areas are actually those with the tightest roads. Even looking at some of the successful business areas of Brooklyn, we see that the majority of them are either one-way streets or one-lane streets. Specifically looking at the zoning map around McGinnis Boulevard, we actually see that the majority of businesses are not even on McGinnis Boulevard. Some of them sure are, but the majority of them are a block or two away. But fundamentally, I don't believe the success or failure of your business is really reliant on the number of lanes adjacent to your business. In fact, I would wager that the fewer lanes that are next to your business, the more prosperous your business actually tends to be. And this is because people traveling down arterial boulevards like McGinnis Boulevard don't actually give a shit about your business. In the case of McGinnis Boulevard, the majority of them are south of McGinnis and they're trying to get north of McGinnis, and Google Maps routes them through the most laned road, which is McGinnis Boulevard. But very few are stopping to look around what's on McGinnis Boulevard. It's really hard to make impulsive shopping decisions when you're going 40 to 50 miles per hour and you're trying to reach your destination. In a dense city like New York City, the majority of your business is likely coming from your locals or those within transit distance. And the reality is that adding a dedicated bike lane will actually make it safer to get to your business, and it will increase the number of people that go to your business. And this is because people who live a little further from the Arterial Boulevard now have a safety incentive to go a little further, and they know that they won't have to fight or go through the hassle of finding a parking spot. They will just park their bike and go inside. The main reason most people don't bike in New York City is because the streets are simply not safe, and the only real way to make them safe is by adding dedicated bike lanes. And this isn't just me speaking in hypotheticals. There have been plenty of case studies done that have demonstrated that slimming down roads or adding bike lanes actually increased revenue for businesses. Riding a bike simply makes one more aware of their surroundings, and you're more likely to just pull over if a shop strikes your fancy. Fundamentally, the problem with arterial boulevards is that they treat the surrounding area as an in-between, and that's what the area around McGinnis Boulevard right now is. It's an in-between, and a dangerous one at that. So knowing that there's plenty of case studies that demonstrate that adding bike lanes or slimming down roads is actually good for local businesses, it's hard for me to be convinced that the best interest of the businesses is in mind of Broadway Stages. Another complaint that we hear currently about McGinnis Boulevard is the chaotic nature of bicyclists. Bicyclists right now just kind of ride wherever they want, and they don't always follow the same traffic rules as cars. Some Brooklynites have even expressed that they are more concerned of getting hit by a bike than by a car. Now, I'll try to take this comment seriously, but this is really why you want bike lanes. There was a time in the United States when we just started driving cars and we didn't have car lanes, and the roads were just as chaotic, and people were concerned about getting hit by those cars. So what did? We created car lanes. Realistically, creating a bike lane, a dedicated bike lane, will be safer for drivers, bicyclists, and pedestrians. Everyone wins at the end of the day. The story with McGinnis Boulevard and Broadway Stages is still far from over, but if you would like to be part of the story to make McGinnis safer, I will leave several links in the video description to learn more, as well as a link to the petition that the Make McGinnis Safer group is hosting. We shall yet see if Broadway Stages' effort succeeds, or if the McGuinness community gets their safer road. But one organization in the Bronx has already succeeded in upending transport progress. And in the next episode, we shall see once again how power, money, and influence can upend sustainable street progress. Until next time, remember to like, subscribe, and remember, friends, keep on walking.